I knew you were going to do that. I was just thinking about that before we went on. Goodness. I am going
Nice.
to share this around a little bit.
All
Uh,
right.
It's been a few weeks since we've been on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. Well, we're finally back. We're finally trying to get everything worked out, and straightened out, and going, and whatever we got to do here.
I can't find the page. Oh, I know
It has
why.
been a day. I'll tell you that much.
You
Yes,
and
it
me
has.
both.
Yeah, it has been a day. But I was thinking about the old horror movies and stuff, and Destiny we like to watch them once in a while,
The old ones.
the old ones, and
Yeah.
anymore, the ones that scared me when I was a little kid, I laugh at today.
Mine was Werewolf of London. I followed
Oh,
my father around the house for 3 days over that movie.
yeah.
And then I got the privilege of at Universal Studios in Orlando, they actually have the real prosthetic head of the werewolf. And I got to overcome my fear that day. So we're good now. We
Mm.
can watch the movie and laugh at it and wonder
Well,
why in the world did that scare me. But
I'm glad you're wearing it tonight. Thank you.
yes,
We-
I mean, I got it on, man. I'm wearing it. Look, I have my TV in the background. And April 11th, 2022, where was we headed? I have a picture of me and Big Ronnie on the airplane on the on TV shuffling.
Virginia,
No, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I love
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I,
I
I
just
love.
happened to catch it out of my peripheral.
Yeah. I think the longest trip we took was Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
That was what,
That
4 hour flight?
yeah. The trip back was what killed me. It
Five
threw
and
my
a
back
half.
out for
Five and a half.
what, 4 months?
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
And then as soon as you land in Las Vegas, everybody's got their hand out wanting to be tipped.
Right? I thought about that the other day.
Yeah.
And we could have caught a cab for $20.
Yeah.
We did not know.
We know now.
Well, the van that we did take, I didn't know the guy wanted every single person to tip him.
Right.
I thought,
So we just gave him one lump, and
yeah.
I
But
feel we tipped him fairly.
I did
We
too.
all chipped in and we just gave it at one time, and he got mad at us. So
yeah. He proceeded to tell us about this. This is Las Vegas.
mhm.
We're quite aware of that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we arrived at the right place.
Yeah.
That's what we was aiming for.
Oh, well.
It was a fun trip.
It was a fun trip. It was tiring.
Harry, remember that first night we got there? We didn't go to sleep till like 4 in the morning.
No.
Their time, which was what, 10 a.m. hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I had jet lag really bad there for about, I don't know, the first day.
It was like the night we got there, everybody was just starting to get out and mingle, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning for us, and I'm like, we're going to bed.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah. I know.
we're going to bed. It's time
We
to go to
was
sleep.
exhausted.
Yeah. And
Fun times.
the event was good, but it wasn't what I expected.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
It
We
was
didn't
still
have
a
time to
blast.
do anything.
No.
No.
And we
And
were like 10 miles from the event, from the motel room in the same
that's what
building.
I was gonna say. Oh my gosh, the amount of time it took us to get from there, from the hotel room to there. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
I guarantee we walked 2 miles.
I know. I mean, it seemed like it was such a long way from the motel room to the event, and then back from the event to the motel room.
Okay, I've got this shared out a little bit now.
Good.
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
You did good. You did it.
But anyway, we've had a lot of fun. I can't wait for Deep South. That's got my heart. I can't wait, for that event because you know, we've been to every one since the very first one, and I'm hoping, you know, everybody comes and shows up and helps support uh, Stan and Teresa on Deep South, because you know it's just a good event. Every year it seems like it was better.
Yeah. I know I had a blast last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for Charles. We can't have a show without Charles.
Charles here.
I got to get him here.
Charles.
I just sent him the link.
Okay.
Bet you he'll be here soon.
Anyway, Destiny, what are we got to talk about tonight?
Well, we're going to talk about. Hang on, one more share up there. We're talking about the hex box. I don't know if anyone watching has seen the show Repossessed. Um, Great show. Just loved, you know, the filming, loved everything about it, loved all the episodes, especially episode 2.
Yeah.
It shared the story of the box that was discovered in one of our clients' backyards. So we thought we would talk about that and go into a little series of this, because there is so much more than what you saw on the TV show. And if you haven't watched it, it's still on Hulu, Disney Plus. There's other streaming um, places that you can go and watch it. But watch it. Our episode is episode 2, Repossessed. And the show is about haunted objects. I submitted the story of our hex box because I thought it was something that people would really be interested in hearing.
Yeah.
And they were. And but there's so much more to that story. I mean,
There is. We just barely touched it, you know, for that television show we filmed with it. We did hold some stuff back because we wanted to save it for our audience.
Exactly. Hang on.
And we're going to be, you know, talking about that. We're going to be doing a series on it, and I think everybody's really going to be, you know, interested, and hopefully, you know, we'll get a lot of people watching. And we love all the comments too, so you know, don't hesitate to post a comment.
Absolutely. But we'll just kick the story off. Um, I remember, I don't remember if it was Michael or myself, got a call from a man, a message on our page from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I'm so glad that it was us that he chose for this.
Yeah, I am too.
Because it really, it was a case that where we had to gain knowledge about things we knew nothing about or knew just a little bit about. We set up the date for the investigation. He had said that while him and his children and his wife were out looking for rocks to build a rock garden, that they stumbled across at the edge of their yard something wooden that looked like a doorstep. Well, upon further investigation, they started digging around it and they found out it was a box. Well, if I find a box buried somewhere, what's the first thought in my mind? Buried treasure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I would think. There may be something worth some money in here. You know, so I would definitely want to see that. We reviewed some video that we had, and some of it was not at our fingertips. And we went back and watched a couple of videos, one that we did live in front of a class that Michael and I were taking at the time. But the video after this family dug up the box, we have that available for you guys tonight. So anytime our producer is ready, we'd love to share that with you.
What if it's another box with money? It'd be old money.
Daddy, you can't see it,
It's a
hush.
jar.
It's glass. I can see that.
Okay, well get that piece of cut that piece of wood off. I mean the metal with the metal cutters.
It's a jar or something under there.
It is, I see it.
Wish we did find some money, Mimi.
I want to.
There it is. They didn't want it to come out. It's wired shut, nailed shut. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they would have buried an animal and wired it shut unless it buried it alive.
Where's your wire cutters?
It's a jar in a cloth.
Oh my. There's something in the jar. And a doll. Oh, there was a doll.
It's an old doll in there.
Don't touch anything.
That's an old jar.
What's in it?
That's an old Atlas jar. Just that jar by itself is worth some money.
Okay.
What is it?
You don't touch that doll
Mom,
for real.
Mom,
Baby.
I'm not.
All right.
So the items that was in the jar were earrings. There was what was else was in the jar? A belt strap.
To me, I think it was a sharpening strap, like for a man's razor.
Yeah, there was a watch, a women's Timex, I believe it was, watch.
Yes.
Several different items in there. And usually when you cast a spell, sometimes it's sealed with urine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the jars are urinated in. So you're looking at that could be a possibility. And of course, over the years, all that had dried up. Also in the box, where it was a bone.
Mm-hmm.
And the bone had the initials of an old plantation owner. And I'm reluctant to say the name because I don't want to disrespect any of the descendants.
There also was a handmade cross.
Yes.
That was laying on the doll inverted.
On the bone, it did have J.M., and I will tell you the last name was Maxwell. I believe in the bottom of the box, there was also, a razor strap. Also in the box, the initials were carved into the bottom. Hey, Big Ronnie. We went on the investigation. Michelle went with us. It was a return investigation for Michelle. She had took some time off from the team. I wish I could take time off sometimes. Just say y'all take it and go. But also a doll. And I'll give you the story of how we came about the name of the doll. I dreamed her name was Levada. And that's what we call the doll, Levada. In her chest are 3 nails. Yes, it does. There were several types of rituals used, spells used to seal this curse. And we really believe with everything within us that it was directed at this one person. Since all these articles have been dug up, of course, they've started to deteriorate. The razor strap being about this long is now all shriveled up, coiled up. The box is starting to decay. And, we've had people say, yeah, they probably dug that hole and put that in there. But the proof to us is is because since air has hit this box, everything has started to deteriorate. The clothing on the doll is starting to tear, little holes coming up in it. So we know it was legitimately put in that ground somewhat 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, there was a date inside the doll. We know where the doll was actually purchased. Keep in mind, this was Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The doll was purchased in Louisiana, in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
It was. What were some other articles in the box? It feels like I'm missing something.
I'm trying to remember.
It was more women's items. Was it hair clips or something?
Yeah, there was some hair clips in there. So what we're going to do is um, we're going to break this down by session. Um, when the property owner called us and he said, I don't know what to do with this thing. I want to get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? I mean, your normal questions. This family was afraid of this item, and for good reason. Soon we found out after we retrieved it and brought it home that a curse was very much still active with this. We instructed the property owner to rebury the box in the same spot until we could get there, which he did. Um, he took it back, put it in the hole, and he covered it up. So we went on the investigation, and I wasn't even thinking about it till Michelle and I were talking a week or so ago about the date that we did the investigation. What was that date, Michelle?
It was Friday the 13th of 2020.
In March, Friday the 13th.
March.
Tomorrow's Friday the 13th.
March
Yeah,
13th.
tomorrow's Friday the
Again.
13th. What an awesome time, to bring this to the show.
Whew.
We're coming up on another Friday the 13th, and we did the investigation on Friday the 13th.
Right. And then
Yeah.
jumping
5 years
ahead a
ago.
little bit, the next day it was like we had stepped out of the motel we were staying in into the twilight zone.
Yes.
And that's the only way I can describe it. It's just like I hadn't really thought a lot about the coronavirus. But, and we didn't see any evidence of people taking precautions that Friday the 13th. But Saturday the 14th, it was like I was watching people and they were not touching the doors. Like they were opening doors with their elbows or with paper. And some people had on gloves going through a store. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I
we
think
was
it
at
took all
Waffle
of us a minute
House.
to catch on to what was going on.
Yeah.
People were like, you walked up, people were like scattering back from you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the day to me that I really, felt coronavirus.
Right.
For real.
Yeah. Well, I want to mention too, after the clients had originally opened the box, they had an elevated paranormal activity starting in their home. So we actually had, when we went there, we had to do an investigation in their home too, and then also deal with the box. And at that point, we really didn't have a lot of information on the box. We had to do a lot of research and backtracking, to get everything we could dig up, on the hex box.
Right. The symbols in it, all satanic, all kind of stuff like that. And so ever who did this curse, they meant business.
Yeah.
Somebody was hurt. Somebody was done very, very badly for somebody to want to put something like this together to cause harm to somebody. Now, I don't know how these people passed away. I don't know any of the history of that. It's really not available for us to research. We've tried. Um, but during the investigation, I can't remember. We may have, we dug up the box first. We had Pam and her husband Mark with us. And Mark had just bought a pretty new pair of tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Those sneakers were white as they could be, but he got a shovel and he dug this up. We didn't immediately pick this up and say, okay, we left it sitting out for a while. It was like, things like this. We'd never come across anything like this before. This box was not meant to be found. Um, After Mark dug up the box, we decided, hey, dig a little bit deeper and see what you can find. And a lot of people may think, yeah, it would have been buried deeper than that. But what we found underneath where the box was a tree root. And so what I'm guessing is as the tree root grew, it was pushing the box toward the surface. And I think that's what made it so likely to be found. Some of the claims in the house was we had a video. I'm not real sure where it's at now. I can have it available for another time, possibly. But the homeowner actually took a video of his chandelier swinging in the dining room, which was one of the paranormal claims. And now he was having some activity before the box.
Right, but it wasn't to the magnitude that it started after they opened the box.
Right. For example, the homeowner's wife actually thought her daughter, which was a young teenager at this time, had ran into her room and slammed her door. So she was going to go to the door and correct her daughter. I would do it with the kids here too. But when she opened the door, nobody was there. But she saw the figure and outline that was about as tall as a little girl. So another event she had was she had seen a dark entity floating above her while she was laying in the bed. I mean, things like this. And I believe I would have to ask her to be sure, but I believe, didn't she say that she had heard Mama?
I can't remember, truthfully, if that was one of the claims.
I don't know.
I know
Can I
that,
ask?
yeah, that they did hear the little girl, but I can't remember specifically. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this has been like
Yeah.
5 years ago.
5 years.
March was 5 years ago. So a lot of things that we use to refresh our memory are the EVPs, and different things like that in the videos. And we've told the story so many times, and it intrigues me every time. And Michael usually gets the honor of of telling the story. He's such a good speaker, so much better than me.
I still remember most of it. I do, about Dr. Maxwell and the history, and I do remember a lot of it. Because I guess because I had to give this speech on the hex box so many different times that it's just kind of burned into my brain.
And also, after we retrieved the box, I have a friend, Jennifer, and Jennifer was so kind to absolutely go over and beyond to dig up what the symbols meant, to let us know what they meant. And we were taking a class from Jeremy Leonard, the Cajun demonologist, and he had offered this class, and he had a group, just a group set up where, and that's where we did the live stream of us bringing the box home and then reopening it sometime later after we had brought it home. During the investigation, we used, your typical instruments that you use during an investigation, and actually got an EVP of a little girl saying "Mama." Maybe that's how I got it mixed up.
Okay.
And we went out and we did an investigation out in the yard.
Now we did, we're able to somewhat date the doll after our research. We were able to track down the name of the company in New Orleans that actually sold the doll. And they have not been in business for years. You know, it closed up many, many, many years ago.
And Charles says a doll vision of a little girl hearing mama had could have been something that happened to a little girl. All right, and we'll get to that.
That's part of the story.
Maybe not tonight, but that is definitely part of the story. Um, After the investigation, we put the doll in a big, thick, heavy trash bag and tied a knot in it, and it stayed in the car for a few days. Um, that next day, everything was kind of, I don't know, like in a fog the next day. Absolutely. If I had to describe, our day the next day, even though we went out and done some fun stuff in Tuscaloosa, um, if I had to describe the day, it was off some.
Mm-hmm.
It was really off some. So to make it all better, what do we do? Pam and Mark had to leave and go home, but Michael and myself and Michelle, of course, we're going to find somewhere else haunted to go. And we did.
We did.
Maxwell Crossing has something to do with this story. It has a lot to do with it. And Michael will brief us on that in a minute. But we went out to Maxwell Crossing and did some EVP sessions there. We walked around. We went to the river. Um, and the strangest thing, and I didn't realize it at the time, um, we were walking, and I remember laying my phone on the top of a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm walking across, I'm taking pictures. I think I had just got that new Canon camera, and I was excited, taking photos of everything, the water, the rocks,
Yes.
everything. And I remember laying my phone up on the railing of the bridge. And then I'm walking back, and Michelle looks at me with this strange face, and she said, I thought about throwing your phone in the water. And I'm like, I wonder why she said that. And I said, well, I'm glad you didn't. And then when I was telling her this yesterday, she's like, I don't remember that. That didn't happen. But it happened. It
Yeah.
honestly, truly did. But she has no recollection of this.
Because that would be
So
something I would never do. I would never even think to do something like that.
I know, I know. But you did say that. And then, um, of course, after we investigated around Maxwell Crossing, especially at the train tracks, at the crossing, that
Mhm.
was pretty cool. Michelle and I took about an hour and played in the water.
Yep.
Right there, a little stream was coming up. We played with the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
we finally got Michael in the mood to play there and found some cute little stones and stuff. And we left there, and our paranormal appetite had still not been satisfied. So we left there and we went where?
Old Bryce.
Old Bryce Hospital. And so I was so determined that I was going to get in this hospital. We're riding around and we're trying to find a way in. And so we're out this long country road, and there's not a house for miles. And then I see it over past a long field. I mean,
Mhm.
probably a mile long, maybe. I don't know. It was forever. And I am like taking off the flip flops, and I'm putting on the boots, and I'm about to go for a hike. And then Michelle and Michael's like, wait, don't do that. Let's ride and find somewhere else. So we rode around, and people had told us it was blocked off and you couldn't get into it anymore. So, in my mind, I'm sneaking in that hospital because
Well, here I am in
I
the
want
Jeep.
to
I'm about
see
ready to
it.
throw y'all in, and we're just going to trek through, and we're going to make
I
it
know,
one way or
right?
another.
We were ready. I wanted in that hospital so bad. Well, we actually did find the driveway to it. And we rode out. The barricades were moved. Like, oh, welcome.
Hmm.
And I told Michael, I said, Michael's like, we're going to jail. We can't do this. We're not supposed to be in here. And I said, do you see a no trespassing sign?
Not a
No,
one.
not a one.
Mm-mm.
The barricade had been moved. Big orange, long barricades, and they had been moved apart. Like, it
Come
was
on
all
in.
signs go to me. That was a green light for me. So, so we go riding up this trail, and I am in awe of this old place. Even though it was falling apart and it had been spray painted, I
Mhm.
was in love with it. It was beautiful.
It was
And
ominous driving up to it.
yes, it really, really was. I mean, it was like pulling into South Fork or something. It was just so big and huge and amazing. And the white columns
Yes.
still standing, but there
Don't know
was
how.
nothing holding the top of them down.
Don't know
And so
how.
what did we do? We got to get pictures next to those columns. And I
Now,
still have those.
keep in mind the hospital was ruins.
It really was.
I mean, it was not safe to be in there, but that didn't stop Destiny and Michelle.
No,
You
no.
know, when I'm stuck on a trip like that with these two, I'm drug alone.
Look, we're standing in the middle of the place and we're looking up and we see the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, hardly any roof at all. So what does Michelle do? She sees
Well,
stairs. Oh, I wonder what's down here. And she takes off and she's gone and she's gone. And I'm like, well, you know, we're going to have to call 911 and tell them to come search for Michelle.
Yeah. We thought she was deceased.
And it was dark down there. I mean, you could see
Yeah.
debris laying on the steps. She just went right over that debris and went down, pitch dark, no lights, no anything.
I
And
had on boots.
it
Yeah.
was fun, wasn't it?
It was
You
so
scared
fun.
me half to death.
It was cool.
Also, we saw symbols on the wall inside where maybe rituals had been held. And I mean,
Mhm.
it just had that feel to it. There's a different feel. And some of you investigators may know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a different feel to a place when you go into an abandoned place and rituals have been held there. I mean, you really feel like something's watching you.
You know, there was a lot of structures on the property that was connected to the hospital,
Yes.
and we actually were able to locate the original crematorium where it was,
Yes.
because you know, in the old days they would cremate, you know, their patients as they passed on right there on the property, and it still had a lot of the chimney was still there.
The smokestacks.
There were smokestacks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some of the,
I think one had fell, but wasn't one still standing?
yeah.
Partially standing, I think.
Is that the crematorium thing?
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah, the
crematorium
big
thing.
old tower thing that was up there.
And
Yeah.
I actually got out and looked inside, you know, that one structure, and it looked like, you know, the oven or whatever they used, there was still partially one there.
Right.
So
That was cool.
Yeah.
it was a very interesting day.
Snake. Remember the snake?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I ran for my life.
forgot about that. I remember doing a portal session while we was there,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we was able to get some cool stuff
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were.
come through.
Go
But-
ahead and tell us about that.
Yeah.
Well, there was a few, but the one that I remember the most was the one where hold on, you might have to set us up on how we came about that question that we asked to get the response. I
I
don't want
don't
to mess
know.
that up.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I can't remember if I was feeling something or just thought, you know, you could actually hide a body out here.
I think
All
that's
the
exactly
weeds
what it was.
overbrush. And I simply ask, and then I'll let you take it from here. I simply ask, is there a body out here somewhere?
And it came across and it said behind the TV or under the TV or something like that. And lo and behold, here we go. We're leaving this location, and off on the side of the road was one of the big old box squared television sets. So
Right.
we hop out and we go and try to get to it, and of course we couldn't. It was so overgrown.
Yeah, we couldn't get back there to it. But what was so amazing, remember how there was a hump back behind it.
Oh,
Like,
there was like a
Yeah, there
mound.
was.
yeah, there was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, there could have been, and something could be telling us it was there.
Right.
But
Just
what really stuck to my mind is after we took possession of the doll in the box, most of our cases and our investigations like that one started taking different twists.
It really
yes.
did.
Yeah.
We were
It's
getting
like
some pretty dark
dark.
cases come in,
Yeah.
and from that point, the very next investigation was at a house that had symbols drawn on the wall, being pretty much the same symbols that were on the box.
Yeah.
And that was like just on between Carrollton and Noonan. And that was pretty crazy. It really was. And I remember somebody asking me, how do y'all keep finding these cases? And I'm like, we don't. They just come to us.
They were coming to us.
And
Yeah.
it really, after time went on, it started really wearing me thin because of the demonology class that we had taken, and then the investigations taking the twist, and some things that we had to do as a team to help people, exorcisms, house cleansings,
Yes.
and stuff. It started taking a toll on me. I was getting worn out because it was so frequent. Everything was coming so frequent, and I was like,
It's
I'm
back again,
starting
right?
to doubt my uh, wanting to do this type of thing. And then I was quickly reminded by my teacher, once you step out and you've been in this, you can't just step out of it.
Right.
Once you're called, you're called. It doesn't go away.
No.
You're always going to deal with stuff. And I guess because, we had literally fought demons, Michelle.
Yep.
I it's like they know us. They know us
Mm-hmm.
now, and it's crazy. I began, and I'm not going to lie to you, I began to become afraid a little bit. Um, I started turning down cases because I was like, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to do this again. I can't do this again.
Right.
But everything did turn. I'm glad you brought that up.
It did
I
turn.
really am. We brought the box home. I think it's set in. Michael had that Honda Pilot.
Oh yeah.
Good old girl. She took us so many places,
That was
so many
that was a good
investigations.
car.
Yeah. So
Remember
many
the time?
miles.
Remember the time we don't know how, but she had roaches all in her.
My gosh. I
That
don't
was
know
after the
where
box.
that came from.
That was after the
That was
box.
after the box.
It was. Oh my
It
gosh,
Yeah.
because
really
we was headed
was.
to
Come
a
to think
case.
about it, it was.
And we
We
had her
was
stick
headed
up in
to
the
a
car for a
case
while.
not far from here, and Michael shimmied or something, and you made a comment, and I was like, what are y'all talking about? And you're like, oh, you'll find out soon enough. And here I am, terrified of bugs. And
Yes.
lo and behold, there's bugs in the car, and I about lost my mind. I was like, if I'd have known this, I would have drove.
Yes,
I
I
would have
want to
drove.
mention, if there's a bug within 20 miles, it's going to find Michelle.
It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. It's going to go right to her.
Yeah.
Say, I'm a bug. Here I am.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah, it was after that. After we took the box
It was.
out.
I mean, everything started going.
And I was like, I wouldn't even take my
Yes.
purse because I didn't want those things in the house.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm like, but when you would go out, I'll tell you how I got rid of them. I went and set off 3 of those, and you're not supposed to do it in a car. I set
Oh.
out 3 of those bug bombs, roach bombs, and it killed them all.
Mm-hmm.
But it was after the box. That's
It
crazy.
was after the box.
But
I
there
mean,
was not any more bugs.
everything we had to go through after we took possession of the box from our clients.
Yes.
It took us to a whole other level of paranormal investigating.
Really. And how many people do you know their cars have been infested with roaches?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
That is unheard of.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, we took
Change of
we took the
subject.
box home and left it in the bag for a long, long time. And then we decided we were going to reopen the bag. I don't have that video, and I don't know how shareable it would be. But if anybody wants to see it, I found out how I can send you the link, and I'd be glad to share that with you. Um, of us taking the items out of the box. Um, and as soon as Michael, we had a water hose out there because the items had not been cleaned up yet. I mean, you could barely tell what they were. Um, it was dirty. It was that mud and stuff. So we took it out in the backyard next to the pool. Michael got the water hose. We opened it, and the worst stench came out of that box I've ever smelled in my life.
Like an old grave.
Yes.
Like an
Well, I've
old
never
grave.
smelled an old grave, but I could imagine it stunk. It was ridiculously smelly. It was horrible. And so we took each item out. Michael hosed it off with a water hose, and we laid all the items out. We actually shared that in the group for the demonology class. And we took the box from there, and we wouldn't bring it in the house.
Mm.
That is one thing we didn't do at the time, was bring it in the house. So Michael set it out open in front of the carport, in front of the garage doors. Well, the box was sitting there, it dried out, and for some reason, I started having dreams about an African American woman, and I can tell you what she had on. She had on a white shirt that had a little collar, and if I had to tell you what this outfit represented, was maybe a school uniform. She had on a sweater. It was a blue sweater, light blue. She had on a skirt, and the shoes she had on like socks that
Mm-hmm.
came up to the ankle, white, and she had on like, what do you call them? The little shoes you put the pennies in. Do you remember those?
Penny
Had
loaf.
yeah,
Penny
it looked like
loafers.
those. And actually, I think she said Levada, and she was telling me in my dreams, take it back, put it back.
Mm-hmm.
Just take it back. And I dreamed this maybe, I know 2 times. It might be stretching it to say 3. And I had that dream. And every time it was like, just put it back. Take it back. Put it back. And I knew she was talking about the box.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I felt sad. I felt sorry for the person that actually put all this together. I started feeling hurt. I felt all this, and I can understand the reason that they did this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what happened. All we can do is speculate and go, as far as our research for that area, that wasn't too limited.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But we were able to uncover a lot of information about the Maxwells.
Right. The one thing I want to add before we get off of this is I actually begin to want to take flowers and put on the box.
I remember that.
Take it out and put it on the box. Do I need a night kiss? Do I need a night hug? Okay, hang on just 1 second. Look at her. She's got to get on camera. My sweetness right there. Now, this is one kid here. You talk about paranormal. Most kids get scared. She's like, take me to a haunted place, Gigi. Let's go to a haunted place.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, go to bed, sweet pea.
Can I stay in here and watch you?
For a little bit. Sorry about that, you guys.
We did have to come to terms with the doll, and we were able to establish that as long as we kept the doll separate from the box, activity was a lot less. It's only when we would put the two together
Right.
that everything would ramp up.
There's a video that I'm going to send to our producer Um, this was before. Well, this is when we lived in Temple. It's when we first found the box, and Michael and I moved to my old family property with the intentions of remodeling, which we haven't done anything in forever. Um, but we brought it here. There's some things that happened that we're going to cover next week that really much involves Michelle. Um, but we moved the box here.
Mm-hmm.
Once we brought the box here, and it was actually at the foot of my bed forever. Um, Michael got sick. Michael got well. I got sick. We're talking very sick to the point that I thought I might die.
Mhm.
I had already told people I said, if anything happens to me, please do this at my funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And I was being dead serious. The doctor had told me that if my pulse op dropped below a certain number for me to get to the hospital immediately, that I may have to go on a ventilator. And so my pulse op dropped down to 93, 94. I wouldn't go. I just wouldn't go. But I was that sick.
Well, I think, yeah, the way it affected you and I think it affected Michelle in different ways
did.
too.
It did.
I think all three of us were being affected by this doll, and even Mark and Pam. They look at the issues they had to deal with after the doll.
Yeah, and it does affect all your team members.
Mm-hmm.
We did an investigation once where the investigation was so intense, and because of what we saw during the investigation, we were all outside in a circle holding hands and we were praying.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pull, there was a dark shadow circled the circle, and I had to pull the lady that called us for the investigation, her first name Nancy. I had to pull her inside the circle because it was headed right for her. And the whole time we're there, it's like these shadows are following us. What? Let's see what he said, Mala. Um, so we are doing the podcast tonight from our living room, and we have people in the house. And so apologies for any home interruptions.
But yeah, I mean, everybody seemed to have was affected in different levels. Uh,
Yeah.
it brought our investigating.
We're almost done. Give me just a second.
Our investigating, it seemed like, took a big turn, and we started getting all these cases, demonic cases, and demonic infestations that people were having, and we actually had to, talk to Jeremy Leonard and go to the advanced class to deal with this stuff.
Yes.
Because we were new at this point in history, we were new at this, dealing with possessions and demonic.
Yeah, and it wasn't only us that got sick. People that came to the
No.
house here were getting sick, and took us a long time to finally figure out we've got to separate it. Our next podcast will be in 2 weeks. That's going to give us time to really get ready for the next part of the story of Levada and the Hex Box. But we do want to tell you about Deep South Comic Con.
Oh, yes.
I said it.
You got it out.
I said it.
Yes.
I really said it. It takes place in August, and I don't know if Stan can shoot up the information up there for you. The con is still looking for vendors, and there's a special. It's August the 9th and 10th at the Ozark Civic Center in Ozark, Alabama. We have been the past 3 years.
Yes.
This will be year number 4 for us. And it's just an amazing event. There'll be so many celebs there, horror people.
Yeah,
Help me.
they've got a lot of.
Here we go. Brett Wagner, Leatherface, Tony Moran, which played Michael Myers. Lee Triana Terry Brown, Repossessed on Hulu. Keith Age, The Rock and Roll Ghost Hunter, and many more. We are many more. We are Michael and Destiny Positive. We're going to be there. Um, of course, we're going to be there. Michael's also doing a workshop that Saturday, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the dangers of being a ghost hunter, how to protect yourself, the proper way to go inside of places, warnings, and all kind of stuff. It's going to be good. He'll have to tell you about it.
We've actually had the opportunity. We've traveled all over the country through the past 5 years doing Paracons and talking. People, they want to know about the doll and the hex box. And we've just been real blessed, that they've taken us and, given us the opportunity to go to these different locations across the country and talk about this.
Right. And, the hex box is one thing, too, that we've been able to gain knowledge from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's let us be able to help other clients dealing with similar situations, not this drastic. But, American Demon Comics is going to be there. Oh, my goodness. And I bet he's going to dress up like that devil. And if you'd like to be a vendor, there are some special pricing. Please go to deepsouthparacomicon.com. Look for your vendor application. Also, if you would like to sponsor the con, there's a big need for sponsors right now. Get in touch with myself or go to the website and they will tell you how you can do. Or if you can't attend and you just want your name out there, your business will be sponsoring the event and you will be getting advertisement. Think of it as free advertisement. And I was speaking with Teresa Fikes, who works very hard every year, her and her husband, to make sure, and their team, to make sure this event goes smoothly every year. It doesn't matter where your business is. She can target that area for your advertisement. So please consider this. And, all the proceeds from this goes to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And it's a good thing to sponsor. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think, plus it will help, anyone that has a business or whatever, they're dealing with, they want to have a sponsorship, and put it up there. I think it'll help promote them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Paranormal teams, if you want to come. If you own a haunted location, you run a haunted location, and you want some advertising, you want more teams coming in, more people visiting, come and set up a table. Give out flyers. We've seen lots of locations do this, and it works. It really works. So consider this. Consider coming to Deep South Paracomicon and participating in this event. Our time here is up. We started a little late. We had to boost our time up a little later. Oh, Michael and Destiny Fox will be there.
Yes, we will be
We
there.
will be there. And we're hoping Michelle's going to be able to join us. She's got her little job, though. She's working on the weekends. So she's going to have to plan this in advance.
Maybe we can stuff her in our bag.
We've got possibly a couple of more team members coming with us. And it's going to be so fun.
Yeah. I'm going to be doing a workshop. Over the years, I've gotten the opportunity to investigate a lot of places across the United States. And it's just been blessed, and it's been a cool experience for me. And I've learned so much, but nothing like I had to learn with the hex box.
Right.
The hex box took me to a whole new level.
Which has led to people bringing haunted objects and basically dropping them on our doorstep, so to speak.
Yeah, we've ended up having to collect a lot of haunted objects that people are bringing to us and saying, please take this. We don't want it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we're not interested at this point in time, to open a museum or anything.
Hey, baby. That's my puppy dog.
Yeah.
Come here. You guys might as well meet my Sookie girl. I'm on her sofa.
Yeah.
I am on her sofa.
Yeah, that's Sookie.
She's got her little blankie over there behind Michael. So this is her sofa.
Yeah. So, we're excited to see everybody at the
Nuh-uh,
Parathon
baby.
this year. So I'm hoping everybody comes. And like Destiny said, if you want to purchase a sponsorship, please contact Destiny or you can contact Teresa Fikes.
Or deepsouthparacomicon.com.
Yeah, or deepsouthparacomicon.com.
Right on the screen.
There you go.
Don't sprawl
That's
out,
all
baby.
you need to do. And anything anyone could do would be greatly appreciated.
That's right. Guys, I've had a good time. It's good to be back. It's good to be back on the podcast. Good to talk with Charles again a little bit. 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be going into the story of when we brought the Hex box home. And we're going to pick it up where we left off. And you're going to get to see some more footage.
It's
Yay!
going to be a regular night gallery episode.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll have Rod Sterling come in. I don't even know if he's still
That's
with
right,
us.
so.
He did both.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm too young
Yeah.
to remember.
Yeah, he did Night Gallery and he also did the Twilight Zone.
Okay, and who are we, Madeline?
The Fox Paranormal Team.
That's right. So if you've got a ghost in your house, who are you going to call?
Fox Paranormal.
I hope you guys got that. 2 weeks from tonight. Peace and love. See y'all then.
Good night, everybody.